Woohoo! I'm excited. Yo, we have just done a cool practical example of building our own setTimeout function, and we popped the new window up and then we closed it. How cool is it? Don't lie, it was pretty awesome, right? Cool, but now you're probably thinking as well, okay, great, but what is the real difference between JavaScript? Like, how do I know what is JavaScript, what's not? Well, let me just look at the setTimeout function, and this was the whole point of the exercise. Okay, let's get the setTimeout function on the screen. You can see it there. You remember what we did? We took our new window, we then accessed the method close on it, and we did all this within 5 seconds. Okay? Now, what is the DOM API? Well, let's take these words, setTimeout, the opening parentheses. What about the word close? What about the comma and the 5,000? And the closing parentheses, what is that? Well, this is what a lot of people don't realize, even experienced developers, and it shocks me sometimes. But those words, that syntax in itself, none of these words are JavaScript. None of them. They all provided to us by the DOM API. So don't get confused between JavaScript and the DOM API. Okay then, so then what is JavaScript? Well, JavaScript is kind of the glue that holds everything together. It's kind of all the little bells and whistles that go along with it. It's the arrow syntax. Remember, we defined a new variable when we said let new window. That is us using JavaScript. So we can say that that new window is a JavaScript variable. What about the closing little curly bracket? What about the little semicolon at the end of this whole statement? Well, that is JavaScript. So you can kind of see without JavaScript, the DOM is pretty useless. So you kind of have to use both together. And that's what we meant earlier when we said that without the DOM, JavaScript would be pretty useless. And of course, without JavaScript, the DOM would also be useless. So they are both BFFs. They both work very well together. I hope this is becoming more clear, and I hope this is blowing your mind, because it really is interesting and a lot of people don't get it. As a quick recap, the browser provides us with a DOM API. And the DOM API gives us many functions. One of those functions that we've seen is setTimeout. And we use these functions to access the DOM. In this case, we access that new window. But importantly, these functions, like setTimeout, like getElementById, which we're going to see later, these are not JavaScript functions. We know, taking a step back, that JavaScript is just a programming language that browsers can execute. And we use JavaScript to work with the DOM API. Okay, that's great, and it sounds very awesome, but just bear in mind, and we've also mentioned this before, the DOM was not purely designed solely for JavaScript. And this can sometimes make things a bit awkward.
This word is pronounced as awkward. Awkward, making you feel embarrassed.
What do I mean by awkward? Well, let me show you a quick example in the next lecture.